Love Codes for disabled cuties, for disabled babes, for disabled, sick people, for people who there's different terminology that you can use connected to this, and it's a bit of an unusual. I didn't expect to be making this video, but I'm feeling very drawn to make this video at this time. You may be disabled, you may be in love with or connected or dating or wanting to date somebody who is disabled, and that's just the terminology I'm going to use. Yeah. And I will start by saying I'm a sicky babe myself. If it's your first time, I don't have notes or anything for this, but yeah, I've been asked, I've been requested, I've felt drawn to make this video speaking about the kind of hard nose for disabled people in terms of dating people. For some reason, it's not allowing me to change. Eek! Ah! Is that a bit better? Yeah. So, pardon what? Let me just get my antenna out. This is Codes of Harmony. Yeah, I don't know how this will be received, and I don't really care. I hope this gets to the people who need to hear it, and particularly if obviously it can help any disabled people or disabled people that are dating anybody, any kind of relationships. And this can be extended, these love codes that I'm about to share can be extended beyond a romantic relationship or partnership, and especially beyond a stereotypical relationship. And disabled people will often have very unique, very different relationships with people and a very different experience of life. All right. So just keep in mind, if you're watching this and you are a disabled person, I hope that these messages are empowering to you. I hope that I don't trigger, I don't upset with any of my choice of words. And it goes without saying that I'm speaking from my own perspective, as well as channeling messages. Should I just get straight into it? Should I just go straight into it? So one of the really big things that needs to be highlighted is around just clearing the energy. Thank you so much. Just clearing the energy. Before I go into the hard no's and the hard rules that rules to live by is what I would say. Definitely things to look at if you're in a relationship, if you're considering being in a relationship with a disabled person or a sick person, or somebody who lives with chronic illness, such as myself. I mean, I mentioned that because I'm speaking from a place of lived experience. These are things you need to understand and consider. And I just want to remind you that when you're disabled, your life is already hard. You know, your life is already harder than people who are not disabled. And your lived experience within your body, which is very much something that is connected to trust, right? So who you trust to interact with you, to be close to you, to have access to you, that's a very big deal all the time for everybody, but it's even more of a important consideration if you are a disabled person or if you are in love with, connected to, or have any kind of relationship. Of course, they're gonna make it difficult, right? They're gonna make it difficult, right? Like my life isn't hard enough as a disabled person. Yeah, so I'll just get straight into it before the reception comes again. But number one, you need to make sure you are never dating somebody who gaslights you about your lived experience as a disabled person. And everything I'm about to talk about goes into consideration. Yeah, it can be really hard because the able-bodied person doesn't understand the disabled person. One, you cannot date somebody who gaslights you about your lived experience as a disabled person. Two, you cannot date somebody who mocks, teases, laughs at, or ridicules your disability or the symptoms of your disability. And we understand that there are actually a whole bunch of things that come with being disabled, and some of them are really incredible things. So this isn't all doom and gloom. It's actually, disabled people are beautiful and strong and powerful and have an experience and an understanding and wisdom that comes from being disabled that able-bodied people do not have, right? And do not get offended by what I'm saying. Receive it with the respect that it is owed, please. So we just covered number one, you cannot date somebody or have a relationship really with somebody who gaslights you and tells you either your disability isn't real, that your disability isn't happening, that your disability is not as bad as it seems, or compares trivial small things to what is actually a very challenging, often grueling, painful, sometimes even like deeply emotional experience of being disabled. You cannot date somebody who gaslights you about it, number one. I'm just going to talk in the context of love, and you can take this however it is for you. For some of you, this will have to do with family members. For some of you, this may be friendships or platonic relationships. That's funny. Pluto energy maybe as well. Okay, number two, you cannot date somebody who mocks, teases, ridicules, or laughs at your disability and the symptoms or the effects, whether that is the ongoing physical effects or however it affects you. Yeah. Number three, you cannot, and I don't have notes, this is just pure channeling going on here and speaking from lived experience, you cannot date somebody who blames you or punishes you for your disability. Keeping in mind, we must always try and be accountable for and responsible for our own disabilities, for our own health, whether that's mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual. We must always be accountable and take ownership for our own health. Having said that, you cannot date somebody or have a close relationship with somebody that punishes you or blames you for your disability. Number four, you cannot date somebody who looks down upon you because of your disability, because you are sick, chronically ill, or live with chronic pain or chronic illness, whatever terminology you want to use. Yeah, so you cannot have somebody who wants to be, there's certain dynamics and roles that can happen where people can try and look down upon you and put themselves in a hierarchical place of them being better than you, them being more abundant. What are we up to? So this is a very big issue to talk about. This is a very big issue to talk about. Or a sexual or a intimate relationship, you cannot have an intimate, romantic, or sexual relationship who speaks poorly of your body, who makes jokes about your body, who repulsed or disgusted by your body in terms, because your body, every disabled person's body is shaped by their disability. You might have scars, you may have your body weight might be fluctuating more or less depending on your disability. You might have skin conditions, you might have your body doing all of these things because you're disabled. You cannot date somebody or have an intimate, close relationship with somebody, and particularly a sexual relationship with somebody that has negative, gross, ableist, or judgmental things to say or think or feel about your body. And that's why it's very difficult when people aren't honest with you about how they actually see your body. And when they say body, we're obviously talking about the face as well. And, you know, you, like, for example, you might have particularly the case, or intimate, sexually intimate, romantic, physical interaction that happens, whether that be, right, whatever your definition is. A disabled person's relationship with their body, with their physical vessel, is such a complex and often painful thing. It is something that every disabled person, every chronically ill person spends their entire life working on, their entire life. Every day it is a achievement to love one's own body when you're disabled, right? And I can already feel and hear people being like, oh, but I feel like that as an able-bodied person. It's not the same thing. It's completely not the same thing, because society as a whole mistreats, judges, and actively disempowers and discriminates against disabled people. And this has been the case for a very long time, from when we shifted in our consciousness to this like greed pattern, this masculine dominated like king frequency of the kings all ruling the world, and women not being allowed to vote, and all, etc., etc. Before this like civilized society, there was matriarchal, everything was matriarchal. I know I'm talking loudly. I've got plasma in my ears, so please excuse, sometimes I strain my voice. Thanks for being here. Thank you for being you. Yeah, so it's not only bad for your well-being, it's not only bad for your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. It is actually dangerous. It's a dangerous thing to be with or have close relationships with people that do any of these things. And the way that somebody sees and treats and talks about your body as a chronically ill person, it's directly related to your disability, because our disabilities leave marks and shape and form our vessel, our and that video just get oppressed by YouTube, disabled, and I'm talking about disabled things, and that's not sexy to a lot of people, right? Okay, great. Great. Disabled people deserve to be, and I don't care how many times I say that, by the way, in this video, we deserve to be respected. We deserve to be treated well. We deserve to be seen as and treated as beautiful, handsome, attractive, lovable, sexy, just as much as an able-bodied person. And so if you are somebody who's not an able-bodied person, and you are seeing this message and hearing this message right now, please really think about the relationships that you have in your life, and think about if anything that I've said has resonated with you. If anything that I've said has made you feel particularly triggered, particularly confronted, concerned, or worried, and you can think of somebody who you have a relationship with, or maybe there's relationships you've been in, yeah, just know that you are worthy to be loved and respected. So there's this gross thing that some people do where they like speak about and project this idea of like disabled people wanting validation, like and it's like, no, that's actually, so don't ever be made to feel like ashamed or like you're too much when to expecting to have your body and your disability number 6 or 7, whatever it is now. You cannot date bodies, and unless that's a mutual thing, that can be very dangerous. A relationship where you feel like your disability is being used against you, and they treat you like a guinea pig or kind of experiment, or they're like proper. But just be very aware of that. Don't date somebody who makes you feel like you're some kind of oddity or you're some kind of like science experiment because you're disabled. Even though disabled people are obviously very huge blessings and we're very special and unique, we're also part of the whole collective, and we're human beings as well. Yeah, so there's the kinks, the kind of where some people actually have kinks about certain bodies that are disabled, and that the danger of that is obviously being dehumanized, being treated, being objectified, being treated like an object. And it goes without saying that you know, there's elements of that you can put into lots of different types of dangers when it comes to relationships, not just when it comes to intimacy, physical intimacy, as we don't want to be dehumanized, right? And understand date some. You cannot date somebody or have an intimate sexual relationship or somebody who knowingly increases your sickness and your pain, particularly like if somebody knows the way that your disability impacts you. It's very abusive if they use that against you. That's a hard no. And that's actually, yeah, very abusive. That's a very not only it's like it's akin to physical abuse, because if somebody knows that it's going to end up physically harming you more or putting you through more physical pain, that's very violent. That's actually very violent and abusive, and it's basically as if they were physically putting you through more pain if they knowingly make you go through more physical pain or make it more difficult for you to have access to pain management or pain care. That's abusive. That's really not somebody that you want a relationship with. You don't want to date somebody who is careless or irresponsible with your medical condition or with your body and your well-being, with your disability, with your chronic illness. Can't do that, right? These are love codes, by the way. And I know I could have been being misused, and because there's so much chaos and horror going on, you cannot date somebody who is unaware of their own medical condition. Oh, that's a big one. I just got a question that I should absolutely mention. That is empathy. As who's just daily lived experience every day, obviously it's different. Some people have illnesses or physical chronic pain, sickness that comes and goes, and there's some people that live with it ongoing, and there's some people that have like chronic illnesses that would stay with them for their whole life or many years of their life. And so you cannot date somebody who has no empathy, and you cannot date somebody who is not responsible for their own well-being or not aware of and accepting that they also may have some kind of medical condition or have some kind of sickness themselves. And that can be, there's also often people who are sick or disabled or chronically ill also live with multiple conditions, or you might have one condition that creates another condition, another medical condition, or another illness, or another correlating sickness, right? So, and when there's two people who are both disabled and they're in a relationship together, that can be very hard. That can be very complex, even though there's the flip side of it also having lots of benefits. I don't know what number we're up to. It's a love code. I would absolutely say for disabled, chronically ill, and sick people is to be able to date somebody confirmation. You can't have an intimate, loving, close relationship with somebody who uses ableist language, so uses terminology that is disrespectful, dehumanizing, or jokes, or based off some kind of mockery of disabilities or othered bodies that are disabled, sick, chronically ill. If anyone wants to count how many times that I've said that and write it in the comments, I dare you. I'm joking. Right. Okay, yeah. So dating somebody whose relationship with money makes them cruel, mean, or angry in relation to your, because disabled people are discriminated against, and a lot higher disabled people. Or the workplace is not responsible, and the workplace may actually be ableist, or if you're physically challenged to do certain work, You can't work for as many days. You can't make the same amount of money. Obviously, there's variance and a spectrum. There's a lot of energetic interference coming through. Yeah. Maybe I'll make a part 2 of this if I feel like it. Maybe even pull some cards. Yeah, that's an important one though, because that's a big way that disabled people are told that we're not worthy and we're not that we're not a contribution. We don't contribute to society, you know. And that's like an incredibly disrespectful, mean, dehumanizing, rude, and painful thing to be told. And don't date somebody to never ever mock, humiliate, bully, be irresponsible, be careless, be harmful, and or intentionally triggering about somebody's disability. You can't do that. Don't do that. And if you do, you don't deserve to have that person in your life. In fact, you should be going out of your way to make sure that that disabled person feels good about themselves and feels good in their body, their incredible disabled body that has survived so much and is still here, still alive. Don't take disabled people for granted, because we make the world such a beautiful place, such a better place. And we contribute in ways that have not been acknowledged since ancient times, when our gifts and our magic and our presence was valued in a very different way. Yeah. Oh, 4141. Look at that. It's almost like I'm magic or something. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. There's definitely a lot more things that I could have listed, and maybe I will again. I send love and blessings and protection to all people who needed to hear this message. What date is it again today? So much love from Codes of Harmony.